Good morning, everyone. My name is Ayasha. I am working as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering in IIMT College of Engineering, Greater Noida. Today, I am going to discuss a topic that names is Bluebrain. So, so these are the outlines of my like today's lecture. First, we will discuss the introduction, that is about something about blue brain. Then it will going to discuss the need of the blue brain, then function of the natural brain versus, and then that human brain versus blue brain. Last, and then uploading of blue brain, then example of blue brain, or then after that the hardware and software requirement, and lastly the pros and cons of the blue brain. The thing I'm saying again and again and then again, that is Bluebrain. Bluebrain is nothing. It's a name of a project. It's a name of real life project, which is implemented by India in collaboration with Switzerland. So what project it is? So if I'm going to say कि we are going to rebirth a human after his or her death, again repeating, if we are if like we are going to rebirth a human after his or her death, then that line is successfully going to implemented by our researchers, by our scientists, by our engineers in future. So the project Blue Brain is all about this. So let us discuss what is human brain, like introduction, what is Blue Brain. So human brain, that as I say, human brain is the most valuable creation of God. Of course, that is no doubt it is the most valuable creation of God. Without our brain, we all are nothing. So the man is called intelligent because of the brain. So today we are developed because we can able to think, we can able to imagine, we can able to work, we can able to grow ourselves, which is different from other species like animals, birds, and like, but if we lost the knowledge of our brain when the body is destroyed after death of a person, then the knowledge might have been used for the development of human society. So, what happen if we create a brain and upload the contents of the natural brain into it? Like if we are, if let's we take an example, ki, we are having a scientist. So when in during his life, he has developed so many new technologies, so many new algorithms, so many new formulas, and so that way, all these his research is in all the kind of research is really very informative and helpful to the real world. So but now he is not physically present, or he's like his death, so all the creation of his is going to stop there. We are not able to, I'm not saying we are not able to use his already developed things. I'm saying whatever the things he will going to develop, that will stop there. So that is the thing, that is a huge amount of loss we are facing. So by the help of this project, by the help of Blue Brain, we are going to avoid this lack by regenerating the mind of a person after his death. So the Blue Brain, the name of the world's first virtual brain. It's a virtual brain whose name is Blue Brain. That means a machine that can function as a human brain. So today scientists are in research to create an artificial brain that can think, respond, take decision, and keep anything in memory, and can act, can react, and so. So the main aim is to upload human brain into machine so that man can think, take decision without any kind of extra efforts. So by the help of this, after the death of a body, the virtual brain will act as the knowledge, intelligence, personalities, and feelings, and memories, and many things, whatever the stored in the human brain, will going to reflect into the virtual brain. So no one has ever understood the complexity of human brain. It is complex than any circuitry in the world. So the question may arise, is it really possible to create a human brain So the answer is of course yes, because whatever man has created today always has to be followed the nature. When a man does not have a device called computer, so it was a big question for all, but today it is possible due to technology. So technologies are growing faster than everything. And as I said, ki India is working over this project by in the collaboration of Switzerland. So in India, the company is IBM, which is involved in this research. So it is called Blue Brain. If possible, this would be the first virtual brain of the world. So we are working over it. So by like we are imagining, or we are in the area ki we are going to say, or we are going to develop the first virtual brain. That name is Blue Brain by 2030. So the next topic is what is Blue Brain? Blue Brain, the IBM is now developing a virtual brain known as the Blue Brain. It would be the world's first virtual brain. Within 30 years we will be able to scan ourselves into a computer. So is this the beginning of eternal life? So yeah, we can say Blue Brain is an artificial brain, and which does not actually the natural brain but can act as the brain. It can think like brain, take decision based on the past experience, and response as a natural brain can do. It is quite possible by using a supercomputer with a huge amount of storage capacity. So processing power and the interface between the human brain and the artificial one. Through this interface, the data stored in the natural brain can be uploaded into the computer, so the brain and the knowledge intelligent of anyone can kept as and used ever even after the death of the person, right? So the next is as I said, to design to or to develop the blue brain, we need a supercomputer. We required a supercomputer having a large amount of memory. Why I'm telling the large amount of memory is required? Um, because we can imagine ki how much amount of data are we are capturing in our mind. So to store that all data, we need a large amount of memory. So this is the supercomputer which is used, or on the basis of that the Blue Brain project is going to develop. So the thing next thing is ki what is the need of the Blue Brain? So today we are developed because of our intelligence, as I already discussed. So intelligence is inborn quality that cannot be created. So some people have this quality so that they can think up to such an extent where other cannot reach. So human society is always need of such intelligence and such an intelligent brain to have with, but the intelligence is lost along with the body after the death. So the virtual brain is a solution to it. The brain and the intelligence will alive even after death. So we often face many kind of difficulties in remembering things such as people names and birthdays and the spelling of words, grammatical things, important dates, histories, some facts, etc., etc. So this project is not only for the death, or not only for this key, like if the person is death, then only then this will be worked. So this is only for the this is also for the person who is alive. Like if a person is facing a problem to remember all these kind of things, so he or she can use a Blue Brain, because Blue Brain is an artificial brain, and he will definitely remind you whatever you will going to store them, or whatever you have designed. We have programmed this Blue Brain, included you. The live example of reminder, or I think machine, we have already seen in a movie which is released, I guess 10 or 12 days back. So Sifra was a machine, and she is totally perfect. So that is the similar, that is we can relate this key how it will do to this. So thing is ki how it is possible, like how it is possible. So firstly, it is helpful to describe the basic manners in which the person may be uploaded into a computer. So the most promising is use of very small robots or nanobots. Ki what will exactly going to happen in our body? So the nanobots, these robots will be small enough to travel throughout our circulatory system, traveling into our spine, into our brain, into our whole body, so that so that the nanobots can be able to monitor the activities and all the behavior, all the structure of our central nervous system. So they will be able to provide an interface with computers that is to the close as our mind can be while we still resides in our biological form. Nanobots could also be carefully scan the structure of our brain, providing a complete readout of the connection between each neuron. So they would also record the current state of the brain. This information, when entered into a computer, so it could then continue to function as us. Right. So all that is required in a computer with large enough storage space and processing power. So is the pattern and the state of neuron connection in our brain truly all that makes up our conscious life? Many people believe firmly those we possess a soul. uh, then many, while some very technical people believe that quantum forces contribute to our awareness, but we have to now think technically, not technically. However, that we need not know how to brain actually function to transfer it into the computer. We need only know the media contents, the actual mystery of how we going to achieve how we going to achieve the all the things in a first attempt, and the actual mystery of how we achieved consciousness in the first place or how we maintain it is in a separate discussion. Really, this concept appears to be very difficult and complex to us. For this, we have to first know how the human brain is actually sorry. So as I said, कि this is the kind of robots or nanobots which will going to inject in our body, which will able to move throughout our body from top to bottom. And the main thing of the robot is कि it will going to scan, it will going to read out, it will going to store, it will going to monitor all the kind of activities whichever our mind is performing over any kind of situation. So the main aim behind this is कि all the things is going to stored into the memory of the virtual brain, so that that memory, that intelligence, that power will going to use in future onwards. Right. So, like if I'm like if I am crossing a road and I have found any kind of obstacle in front of my front of me, then my mind will tell me that some kind of obstacle is standing in front of me, so that I have to take a left or take a right, so that I will not going to hurt. So that step or that all the procedure is going to monitor, going to scan, going to read out by the artificial brain or the nanobots which is placed in into our body. So in future, whenever when the human body is when the human brain is dead, so in future, whenever the chips or whenever the nanobots is installed into the different machine, then that the memory is stored कि whenever a obstacle is found in front of the that nanobot, then it has to take a left or it had to take a right to avoid the hurt. So that is the concept behind कि all the things, all the behavior which are going to performed by a human body is will stored, monitored by the artificial brain. On the base of that, the artificial brain will going to operate, will going to act in future. So function of the blue brain, so function of the blue brain is is the human ability to feel, interpret, and even see in controlled in computer like calculation by the magical nervous system. So yes, the nervous system is quite like magic because we can't see it, right? But it's working through electric impulse through your body. So one of the most intricately organized electrons mechanisms is the nervous system. Not even engineers have come close to make circuit boards and computers as dedicated and precise as the nervous system, obviously. To understand this system, one has to know the three simple functions, that is sensory input and the interpretation and the motor output. So what is sensory input? So when our eyes are seeing something or our hand touches warm surface, the sensory cells, also known as the neurons, send a message straight to your brain. The action of the getting information from your surrounding environment is called sensory input, because we are putting things in our brain by way of our senses, right? What I'm talking about senses is like ki, nose, eye, from matlab, what are the input ki, हाँ, from where we are going to sense the thing, that is our nose, that is our eye and our tongue and our ear. So nose, one the smell of the food has reached your nose, which is lined with hairs. It travels to an olfactory bulb at the set of sensory nerves. The nerves impulse travel through the olfactory tract around in a circular way. The wholesome and finally the smell sensory contact cortex of our brain located between our eye and ear. So where it is interpreted to be understood and memorized by the body. So next is ki how our eye can be act as a sensory input. So whenever we are going to seeing is the one of the most pleasant senses of the nervous system. This chair is action primarily conducted by the lens, which magnifies a seen image. Vittorious disc, which blends or rotates an image against the retina, which translate the image and light by a set of cells. The retina is at the back of the eyeball, where rods and cones structures, along with other cells and tissues, convert the image into nerve impulse, which are transmitting along the optic nerve to the brain, where it is kept for memory. Next is ki how our tongue can be sensory input, can be helpful in sensory input. So a set of microscopic bursts on the tongue divided everything we eat and drink into four kind of taste. It can be bitter, it can be sour, it can be salty and sweet. So these birds have taste buds which convert the taste into a never impulse and send the impulse to the brain, brain by a sensory nerve fiber. Upon receiving the message, our brain classifies a different kind of taste. This is how we can refer the taste of one kind of food into the another. So next is the interpretation. So interpretation is best known as the interpretation of things we have felt, tasted, and touched with our sensory cells, also known as neurons. So into responses that the body recognize, this process is all accomplished in the brain, where many neurons work together to understand the environment. Last is motor output. So once our brain has interpreted all that we have learned, either by touching, tasting, or using any cells which actually work to perform our request and act upon the environment, the word motor output is easily remembered. If one should think that are putting something or into the environment through the use of a motor like muscles, which does the work for our body. So next, let us understand कि whatever the thing is done by brain in human, then the same thing is done by whom in the blue brain. So in human, in the nervous system, in our body, the neurons are responsible for the message passing. The body receive the input by sensory cell. These sensory cell produces electric impulse which are received by the neurons. The neurons transfer these electric impulse to the brain. And the same thing is in blue brain. In a similar way, the artificial nervous system can be created. So that scientist has already created artificial neurons by replacing them with a silicon chip. It has also been tested that these neurons can receive the input from the sensory cell. So the electric impulse from the sensory cells can be received through these artificial neurons and sent to a supercomputer for the interpretation. Next is the electric impulse received by the human brain from the neurons are interpreted in the brain. The interpretation in the brain is accomplished by the means of certain state of many neurons. The same thing is done in blue brain, as the interpretation of electric impulse received by the artificial neurons can be done by means of set of register. Exactly, you have studied about register in your COA subject. So the different values in these register will represent different state of our mind. So in human, based on the state of the neurons, the brain send the electric impulse representing the response, which are further received by the sensory cell of our body to respond. So that sensory cell of which part of our body is going to receive, that it depends upon the state of the neuron in the brain at that time. The same thing is done in human in blue brain is like similarly based on the state of the register, the output signals can be given to the artificial neurons in the body, which will be received by the sensory cell. Right. So next is there are certain neurons in our brain which represent certain states permanently. When required, this state is interpreted by our brain and we can remember the past thing. To remember things, we force our neurons to represent certain state of the brain permanently or for any interesting or serious matter. This is like which going to happen implicitly. So the thing is done in blue brain is like it is not possible to store the data permanently by using the secondary memory. So in the similar way, the required state of the registered can be stored permanently, and whenever required, this information can be retrieved and used. And the thing is, when we take decision, think about something or make any computation, so the logical and mathematical calculation are done in neural circuitry. So the past experience is stored and the current input received are used, and the state of certain neurons are changed to give the output. In similar way, in blue brain project, in a similar way, the decision making can be done by the computer by using some stored states and the received input by the performing some mathematical and logical calculation. Next is the uploading of Bluebrain. So the uploading is possible by the use of small robots called nanobots. So these robots are small enough to travel throughout our circulatory system, traveling one into our spine and brain. They will be able to monitor an activity and structure of our central nervous system. So they will be able to provide any interface with computers that is as close as our mind can while we still reside in our biological form. Right. So nanobots could also carefully scan the structure of our brain, providing a complete readout of the connection. So this information, when entered into a computer, could then continue to function as us. Thus, the data stored in the entire brain will be uploaded into the computer. So example of the blue brain is like Uh, the Bluebrain project led by the EPFL in Switzerland aims to simulate the brain integrate function using supercomputers and advanced algorithm by replicating the behavior of neurons and synapses in a digital environment. So scientists hope to gain insight into various neurological disorder and brain function and the application. If we will talk about the application of the brain, so it can be used to regenerate or to rebirth the memory of a to intelligence or the brain of a dead person. After his death, we are going to use his or her memory. And in a live person, when a people having a problem of Alzheimer, he or she not able to remind the things. So this project or this virtual brain can help out to recognize the thing very carefully. So next is key hardware and software requirements of Bluebrain. So hardware is the high performance supercomputers with massive parallel processing capabilities. And the next requirement is high speed interconnects for efficient communication between computing nodes and the large scale data storage system to store vast amount of simulation data, and the specialized hardware accelerators for speeding up specific computational tasks. And the software requirements are advanced neuroscience simulation software capable of modeling complex neurons networks. So parallel computing libraries and frameworks are required for efficient utilization of supercomputing resources, visualization tools for analyzing and interpreting simulation result, and the data management system for organizing and accessing simulation data efficiently. That all are required to implement this project. And the prawns are like the advantages are blue brain Pros are the Bluebrain project can provide insights into a fundamental principle underlying brain function and behavior, potentially leading to the breakthroughs in neuroscience and medicines. And by simulating the effects of drugs and neural networks, Bluebrain project can accelerate the discovery and development of novel pharmaceuticals for treating neurological disorders. So the detailed simulation generated by Bluebrain project could pave the way for personalized medicine approaches tailored to individual brain characteristics, improving treatment outcomes for the patients. So Bluebrain project serves as a valuable educational resources allowing researchers, students, and the public to explore and understand the complexities of the human brain in a digital environment. Let's like if we have something, then the other side is also there. So the disadvantages of the blue brain are like simulating the entire human brain at a circular level requires immense computational resources. The sophisticated algorithms make it is a daunting task with significant technical challenges. Right. And the Blue Brain project advances, it raises ethical questions regarding the potential implication of manipulating and simulating brain function, including issues related to our privacy and identity. So building and maintaining the infrastructure necessary for Blue Brain project entails substantial financial investment and ongoing operational costs, which may limit its accessibility and scalability. And despite the advancement, the current state of brain simulation technology has limitation in accurately capturing the complexity and dynamic of the real brain networks, potentially leading to the differences between simulation and observed behavior. So in conclusion, while Bluebrain project holds promising for revolutionizing our understanding of the brain, advancing neuroscience, it is also faces significantly technical, ethical, and practical challenges that need to be addressed as the project progress. So thank you so much. Hope you like the lecture.